Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. You just heard a podcast from Vincent Davis. Not a podcast, but a message about this upcoming. We have a guest on, so let me put the guest up. Mikkel Chaperay, welcome. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. I just wanted to talk for 1 minute here before I turn over so you can talk on this podcast. You all found me, Bob Pace, Fighting CPS on Facebook. This is broadcasting to you on YouTube using the StreamYard application. We have a guest. We have Mikkel Shun Ray. And where are you from?
Illinois.
Okay, great. Another person from Illinois. I've had 3 people from Illinois the last couple of days, so it must be a contagious thing happening with CPS there. Would you like to talk about your case?
Yes, definitely.
Why don't you start from the beginning, how you first heard about CPS or how they first approached you, and then take us all the way to the present day.
So my name is Mikkel Cheyenne Bray. I'm a mom of 3. At 17 years old, I was human trafficked by my oldest son's dad, who was 58 at the time. And when I left him in 2016, that's when DCFS got involved. My son's dad would constantly call DCFS on me making false reports. And then they were all unfounded because there was no abuse. Fast forward to 2020. Me and my son's dad have had a court order stating that he gets parenting time Tuesday at 12 until Thursday at 8. January 2020, he was at his dad's house. My son got marks on him, and that's what led to the separation of my kids. I reported it to the DCFS investigator. He did not come out and investigate anything for months from January up until April 2020. Failed to investigate, failed to come out, check on my son. And my children were taken April 17th, 2020.
Wow. What were the allegations that they spelled out to you?
Cigarette burns. My son's dad.
So it was abuse?
Yes. In January, my son's dad accused my then boyfriend, now husband, of burning my son. After my kids were taken in April, my son still had the same marks on him in September 2020 at a foster home.
Okay, were the marks caused at a foster home?
No, the foster home was with his dad's sister. So his dad.
Where did the marks come from?
His dad still had access to him at his dad's sister's house.
This is the biological father.
Yes, and then
Now you're divorced from that father, right?
I'm separated. I was never married to him.
So what were the terms of the separation with the children?
They said when one child is taken by DCFS, All of them have to be taken. So my oldest son was taken, my daughter was taken, my oldest son was 5, my daughter was 2, and I was pregnant with my youngest son at the time. They
That
took
was all
my kids.
because of the cigarette burns of the abuse that were accusing your
Yes, but fast forward
your.
now, my son was misdiagnosed. The hospital reports now state it was grass mite bites, so there was no cigarette burns.
Oh, there's no cigarette burns. So what
No.
happened is that the CPS took it as cigarette burns, and they said you're abusing your children. So if you abuse one child, that means you're going to abuse the other children. So how many children are we talking about?
3 of my kids are in the system. My husband still has full custody of his other 3.
So
So
you
they
have
only
six.
took
You have 6 children with this husband that you no longer you're separated, right?
no, me and my husband are still together. My husband now,
Well,
for my
okay,
youngest
let's do it.
son,
This husband number one, that husband, you had 6 children with him or 3 children with him?
I have 3 biological, but 3 different dads.
Oh, okay. So is there 3 husbands or 2 husbands and a lover or what?
No, I've only married my youngest son's dad. I've never been married except for my youngest
Okay,
son's
so
dad.
those other ones were lovers then that you had a child with, right?
So
So,
my first one was my abuser. I was
right.
17. My oldest son's dad was 58. I separated from him in 2016. And then my daughter's dad, that wasn't, he left me when I was pregnant. And then my husband now is my youngest son's dad.
Okay. Okay. So what are the visitation arrangements now?
I see my kids every week. Um, my both my sons see me at my house. There's an agency. All 3 of my kids are in separate agencies and separate locations. They've been that way since the beginning. Um, my youngest son is with DCFS. My oldest son is with an agency called Camelot. My daughter is with an agency called Easter Seals. Since my daughter went into Easter Seals, they've wanted to keep my daughter since the beginning, and this has been going on for almost 5 years. I've completed parenting classes, 3 parent coaching, 2 domestic violence classes, 2 psychiatric evaluations, a psychological, a parenting capacity assessment, and I've been in therapy since October of 2020, and my therapist supports reunification of my kids. All the reports state that there is no concerns. My psych evaluations state that though I am a victim of human trafficking and domestic violence, I'm much I'm I don't need any medication basically, and I have high resilience, and I'm emotionally mature and no concerns.
Well, okay, do you have an attorney or was your attorney a court appointed or a paid attorney?
So up until April this year, I had a public defender. In the beginning, when my kids were first taken, my old public defender, before he was retired, made me stipulate my rights. And I didn't know now. I didn't know now until now that I was under a form of duress when I was threatened to stipulate my rights when I wanted to have
Uh-huh.
a hearing in the beginning. So I
Yes.
requested to have a hearing in the beginning. My public defender made me stipulate my rights, pushing fear, saying if I don't stipulate, then my kids, I'll my rights will be terminated then and there. Not really knowing because I was under a form of duress. So I do have a real lawyer now, and he's definitely sees um, how biased these agencies are. The judge yelled at me on record because in one of the reports they stated I called everybody evil and that was their only concern. Um, Yeah, that was their concern for not giving my kids back, is because
Right.
they claimed I called everybody evil, and I've asked. I didn't. I didn't call anybody evil, but during my time at, I was actually praying with my daughter, and she took my words out of context and put in her report that I called everybody evil. And
Oh
when I
boy.
asked, yeah, so
One moment, I'm going to recognize Alika Herzenberg. She's from South Africa, and she's been in my room lately the last couple of days. I have a contingent of about 17 countries that call in for CPS questions, as well as all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. And I've talked to over 600 people. Anyway, welcome, Leica. We have a guest on the show. I know that Leica wants, she's saving her money to call from South Africa because she wants to be on the show. Now, she was confused what law or what rule that if one child is in danger, why they take all the other children.
I'm not sure. That's what they told me in the beginning, but like I said, they
But
only
that
took
was a
my,
social worker telling you, not your attorney.
yes, yes.
You see, they only can take one child. They can't take all the children. You know, the problem is the CPS people cannot be trusted. You don't talk to them. You don't allow them in your home. You don't let them take your children. They're very corrupt. It's all for the money. It's a game that they play. They've gone rogue, and it's $1 trillion business. There is an incentive that was passed in 1997 by President Clinton that forces the CPS to go for the money because they don't like family reunification. They want to
No.
be adopted. So
Yep.
they're really against family reunification. Um, Let me put up some other comments. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up with what she had to say. She said that CPS are using the fact that there is three different dads. Yes, that should not. I mean, you have biological dads and stepdads that want to be. I have one dad that wants to get a guardianship. He's from Oakland, California. His name is Fred. He wants to get a guardianship as a stepdaughter. Her biological mother is abusing her, and if she had to go through treatment and stuff. So it is a very complicated thing. But the courts are the important things that you need to work with. You got to work with the courts things. My power cord fell out and I leaned down and it go off the camera. So I'm sorry. Don't mean to be disappearing on you. Um, anyway, I have to have power there. See what Leica further says. Um, are using this and not digging for another reason to take her children. You're right, Leica. They are doing that, and thank you for trying to help out here. She has a couple more things we can catch up with. She says, I agree that they are uh, wrong with you. Yeah, I agree with that. We all agree with you, but you're dealing with a very corrupt. Hopefully, your current attorney will be able to help you. You must stay on this channel, and you should educate yourself on the YouTube on yourself. I educated myself. I won my case after 10 months. That's what Leica is saying, and I was accused. I swear at the CPS, and never did that. And then
Well, throughout this, you know, I've completed all of my services since the first year.
mm-hmm.
And like I said, the agency reports, and I have numerous character witness statements. And the county that I'm in, I've gotten a character witness statement from the county clerk and CASA out here. So I'm friends with DCFS and CASA out here in my town. But where my kids were taken at, they're just completely corrupt, biased. Um, I'm not, I don't even know how to explain it. All my reports are positive. There's no reason for my kids to still be in the system. And the fact that they only took mine and my baby when he was born, but not my husband's kids, it's really confusing because they said once they take one, they take them all. But I didn't know until now they don't like teenagers. They don't like the grown kids. They like the babies because that's how they form them to make they're easily adopted out. Nobody wants to adopt an older child and teenager, and that's what my husband's kids were. My kids were 5, 2, and newborn at the time, so that's why they took mine, which is unfortunate. And then my husband and me are the only two parents fighting. They found my daughter's dad because, like I said, he left when I was pregnant. They found him. He gave up in 2021. My oldest son's dad is homeless right now and mental because, so it's just.
Well, here's my question to you. What does your attorney say the next step is?
So he's new in the case, so he has to look through like over almost 5 years of paperwork. But I told him 2 agencies are pushing for legal screening. So my daughter and my youngest, my oldest son, who was abused, is pushing for a return home because they see no concerns in my household.
Oh, good.
Right. So that agency is on my oldest son's agency has always been on my side. They see no concerns. They don't add anything. Easter Seals is the only agency constantly adding services after I complete them. But I tell my lawyer, my next court date is December 11th. If they go through legal screening for my 2 kids, I'm appealing that. And I told him that, no, I want my kids to come home. I've been fighting my kids. It's mentally draining. And the fact that I have so much resilience and love for my children to constantly fight for almost 5 years now should show how I am as a mother.
Now, what's this attorney's background? Is he a dependency family law attorney?
He's actually a criminal defense attorney in Chicago. So he fights murder cases, and he's a really good attorney.
Yeah, but does he know enough about family law to get your kids back?
Yes, he
This is
knows.
the first time I've heard an attorney will take on CPS. Most time it's a specialized attorney. Like the attorney you heard that gave a little speech is my attorney, Vincent Davis, and he is a dependency law family juvenile attorney. And that is what the CPS uses to take your children. They don't use criminal law, they use dependency law. Now, I'm not saying he can't practice, dependency law. That is great when you find an attorney that can do that. They're far and few. Do you know if he's ever sued CPS for a civil suit?
No, my husband's lawyer is actually doing that. So when we get the kids back,
Yeah, when the case is closed, you can sue them for your violating your constitutional and your civil rights, especially if they lied on the stand or the social workers committed perjury.
absolutely. They've
Yeah.
they've made false reports against me stating that I don't interact with my children, which contradicts how my parent coach. I took 3 parent coaching, one in 2021, April of this year, and again June of this year, because one of the GCFS caseworkers did not push my second parent coaching through because all of my reports are nothing but positive. And they don't want that. They want to see me fail basically and have bad reports against me, but that's what I have. I have positive reports. I have witnesses to prove that I am a good mother. Character witness statements, like I said, the CASA has been on the visit from out here where I'm at, DCFS and everything else. And I have the reports from 2020 stating that the marks on my son still continue to come up. So they misdiagnosed my son and they just took my kids for no reason, which is why I've been saying this since the beginning. But I've also said, like, I understand the court's concerns. My son did have marks on them. and which is why I've proven myself for the past 4 years to prove I am fit. And the person, my son's dad, who accused my husband of abuse, like I said, is homeless. He's been in the mental hospital. He hasn't had visits with my son in months.
This is husband number 1 or number 2?
My baby daddy. He was never my. I've only been married one time to my youngest.
Okay. Man number 1 or man number
Yeah,
2? Maybe that'd be better
number
to say it
one.
that way.
Number
Yeah.
one from all of
Yeah.
us.
Father number 1. Yeah. It's hard when you have children and then the relationship is soured.
One of the caseworkers even she told me she thinks I treat my oldest son differently because I don't like his dad. And I expressed my concerns to my therapist, and I expressed my concerns to my oldest son's agency. And the oldest son's agency even said they don't have any concerns because I don't treat any of my kids differently from any relationship I have with their father. I've told my therapist numerous times I don't speak badly on my kids' dads in front of them or even in general. I just pray for them. And that's
Yeah.
that's what
What is your goal that you want to do?
my goal is ultimately to spread awareness, share my story in hopes it will inspire others and change and reform in the system, and encourage parents to keep fighting for their families, no matter what DCFS throws at you. Because, like I said, it's mentally draining. My body is constantly under stress. I've had to have heart monitors put on because I've been having heart palpitations,
It's
and
okay. It's
I
okay.
thought
I
it
know.
was my heart. It's not my
Yeah.
heart. It's stress. It's constant stress.
Yeah. It's okay. I know how you feel. You see, you've been through so much. You were 17 when you had your first child, correct?
Yes.
And you love your children. And you now, later, now that you have 6 children, you love them all. And you'd like to have your life stabilized. But CPS is always going to get in your way. CPS is always going to get in your way because they are in the money to make money. I mean, that's the business. And as long as they keep your children, and that's 6 children that they're collecting, from the state, $20,000 per child. That's a lot of money that they're collecting. And they get that money freely. A lot of people don't understand. The money comes from the federal government. No questions asked. If the state needs money, they send the money. And there's no transparency. There's no watchdog. There's no directors or supervisors or anybody watching where that money. In fact, there's a case in Richmond, Kentucky, where over $1 million has gone unaccounted for. And they found one gentleman who worked in the CPS there who had $400,000 of the money. I mean, it's amazing. There was a story the other day that May Company, one of the workers there, had a lot of money hidden away. People are very evil when it comes to money. Money is the root of evil. Money's nice. It affords us to everything. But I always call money is the root of evil. It gets you into things there. Leica is continuing to talk, and I'm putting up her messages on the screen so you all can read. And she is so helpful that she, has so much to share. She's a good Christian person, and she believes in God. That helps her. I have to believe in God because my case was terrible. I lost one of my 6 children. 3 of them were taken in, and only 2 came back. The one that I lost, the social worker committed perjury on the stand. What it was is that we were having a situation where my wife's sister and husband were trying to adopt our daughter. And when she did that, she the attorney I had, Vincent Davis, asked some questions like, what kind of parents are they? Also, did they have domestic violence? And the social worker said, no, they're great parents, no domestic violence. Well, then Mr. Davis took out a folder with reports of all these cases of domestic and physical domestic violence, started reading one after another. And the social worker was so embarrassed, she left the court. And she took revenge on me and my wife. And that's hard because the revenge she took was that she controlled our daughter, who was 12 at the time, didn't know any better. And she said to our daughter, "You're going to emancipate yourself from your parents. You don't want your parents." So she alienated our daughter from us, and alienation is against the law. And so she divorced her mother, her father, me. She divorced her two brothers, three brothers, and two sisters. And she divorced her grandparents, both sets, uncles and cousins and aunts. Then she was told to change her name completely, and she changed her name. And then she was told to seal her birth certificate. She did, so she get another birth certificate and be adopted by foster care. She's 22 now, and she has nothing to do with this, and so she went off with her foster care people. My brother, my son still see her because I want her to keep in touch. I want her to keep in touch. So it is hard. It is so hard when CPS manipulates everything.
My daughter's been abused in one of the foster homes, and that was one of Easter Seal's retaliations. Is they stopped my unsupervised in 2022 with my daughter after I called the hotline on one of the foster families. My daughter was removed from that home, but the report was unfounded, and they stopped my unsupervised. I haven't had uh, I've only had supervised visitation with my daughter since 2022. Last year, her foster mother cussed me out during a whole hour of my visit that I had with all of my kids at McDonald's, and she threatened me. She said once she gets custody of my daughter, she's changing her name and information, and I'll never see her again. I reported her to the agency. I've been calling state representatives. I filed a complaint at the Office of the Inspector General. My daughter is still with that lady. And after that incident, I missed 2 whole months of visits with my daughter that they did not reschedule. Um, but all of my kids have expressed that they want to come home. My oldest son, that agency is on my side. So they report what my son says in court, stating that he wants to come home. The other agencies aren't on my side, so they don't put that in the reports. But I have recordings, videos, everything of all my kids stating that they want to come home. My daughter has constant I forgot what it's called, fits. She's 6, and sometimes when I have to leave, she's crying, begging me to stay, and she wants to come home. My youngest son, he's 4. He's crying and begging to stay. The last
Oh,
visit that we had, he said, "I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. I want to stay at mommy and daddy's house." And then the judge this year made me and my husband separate households. So I had to get a place, and my husband had to get a separate place for no reason.
oh no,
No
that's separate
reason.
places. That's wrong. Do you know who reported the abuse originally?
My son's dad.
And he was trying
Well,
to do this retaliation, I bet. That was sad. That was sad.
and the one person who reported the abuse is not he's hasn't done any services since the beginning. Like I told my therapist, is if he really thought that I was abusing my son and he wanted my to gain full custody, he would do everything in his power to prove he is fit. Like I have, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done parenting classes, parent coaching. He was supposed to do domestic violence classes. Like I said, now he's homeless. He is mental. He's like 70 now. He's violent, very violent. That's why I left him. And they didn't listen to me since the beginning. When my kids were first taken, I told DCFS, do not let my son go to any of his dad's family. And that's where they put my son, in the care of his dad's sister. And I didn't get to see my son for 6 months after my kids were taken. So from April 17, 2020, I didn't see my oldest son until October 2020. And our first visit, my son was 5, almost 6, and when I seen him, he said, "Mommy, you came back for me." Like I just left him, and that was really hard, and I still remember that. And not only is it hard for me, my children are depressed. My children are too young to even know about depression, but they're depressed. They have breakdowns. They cry. They want to come home.
Yeah, the problem is the stability of the family is ruined by the child protection system. That's what I call CPS. It's really interesting. They're supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse, but they also emotionally attack the children emotionally. And that is a form of abuse. CPS is doing that abuse, that also. They're supposed to do family reunification and do that, but they don't. They want that incentive money to have them adopted into foster care. They want that money, the bonuses that they get, and the money that they get. It's $1 trillion business, and it's so sad. Furthermore, they're supposed to help out family in need. If you need food or clothing or shelter, or you need education for your children or yourself, like parenting classes, things like that, or you need medical for you and your children, they're supposed to provide that, even a job. And a lot of people don't realize that. The social workers are supposed to do that. Not only protect their children, help families in need. Help
Right.
families in need.
They don't do that. If children get taken from parents that don't have that, they get put in foster homes and they pay the people to take care of other people's children and not help the parents out take care of their own children. And that's just messed up. And they do it strictly for the money. Ever
Yeah,
since the goal is still return home. It's been returned home since 2020, almost 5 years. But now they're trying to use time as a reason to terminate my rights. When I've done everything, I've completed services, everything since 2021. So now they're trying to use time. They've used COVID, why it was taking so long, and just excuses after excuses. There's been 6 different caseworkers. Like I said, all my kids were in DCFS when they were taken, but they got spread out within like 4 months. So my son went to Camelot, my daughter went to Easter Seals, and then my youngest son is still with DCFS. So I have 3 different agencies. None of my kids have seen each other since July, and they miss each other. They're siblings. They've separated my kids since the beginning. When my baby was taken, my youngest son didn't even meet his other siblings until he was 6 months old. And my daughter was still kind of, my daughter on some of the visits, she still gets jealous because she was my baby. She was 2. She didn't know that I was pregnant. She didn't know, she was 2 when she was taken. And now seeing mommy with another baby, she got jealous. They're trying to use my daughter's
yeah,
behavior
yeah.
against me as well. And I've told my therapist, it's common sense. They took my children from me. Like, what do you expect? How do you expect a child to act when you take them from their mother?
Right, right.
My daughter has constant breakdowns. Her behavior has gotten worse. It's not only being separated from me, it's the fact that she's been in all these different environments that are horrible. My daughter got bit by a dog. She's been abused in homes, but yet they use her behavior against me.
Wow. Hey, I have a couple new people that I want to recognize. There's a gentleman named Bert Howard who says, "Can anyone please help me sue the CPS? I'm in northern Florida. God bless you." Well, Bert, to sue, your case must be closed. and you can do a civil suit based on your constitution violation of your constitutional rights or your civil rights, such as committing perjury by a social worker who lies. That's one of the most common ones there. And you can file a lawsuit. And there's so much information on the internet, Bert. Please tell me where you're from, Bert, too. Then we have Cruel Trick. Welcome, Cruel Trick. I'm in need of advice and guidance. Well, ask away. I put my message on my screen. All you have to do is text me a message about your CPS question or a comment about CPS. Please show me your first name, your city or county, and the state. And if you're from another country, please show me your country. I do have about 17 countries that participate in this podcast. I have one country right now, South Africa, present. And also try to be complete with your case. And I'm sure we both can help you with what you're looking for, Cruel. Now, Lisa says, let's see what she says. She says, let me read it there. She says, I come to you in the name of Jesus tonight. I'm calling out to you. I ask help on the channel. Ask for a miracle for each gate. Yes, God's crying out, you, the Jesus. Thank you for the prayer. Thank you for, we are definitely need all the help we can get from God and Jesus. There's no question about that. Now,
Definitely,
Cruel has said, I'm Felicia. Okay. I'm glad that we now know your name. From Ventura, California. That's in California. Going through appeal for a 36626. The judge accepted agency recommendations to terminate my parental rights. I have a 1.5-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy. Boy, that is a hard one. That is a hard one there, Felicia. I'm so glad that you're on my show, and we do want to help you. We're going to have to look up the 366.26. I need to look that up because I have no idea what that is. The 366.26, I think is what it is. It must be a hearing is what it is. It's a court hearing in California that determines the permanent placement of a child when the court decides the child cannot be returned to the parents. The court will consider several options. There are several options, Felicia. Let me read what they are. Termination of parental rights. You don't want that to happen. The court will permanently end the legal relationship between the child and their parents. This will terminate such rights as custody, visitation, and inheritance. Do not let that happen. You can appeal it and make sure you do it. I think 15 days is the typical time for appeals. You got to watch the statute of limitations. There's also, they can appoint a legal guardian of your child. They'll report a relative or non-relative to be the child's legal guardian. You don't want that to happen, Felicia. Or they can continue to put them into foster care, subject to periodic reviews. Whether the child has beneficial relationships with their parents, whether the child is 10 years or older, can identify other important people in their life. So they're only dealing with children 10 or over. When there are barriers to adoption, guardianship, and placement with relative, a court-ordered terminal parental rights is permanent and binding on the child, the parents, and others served with the citation. That is a horrible, horrible thing about losing your parental rights. But we lost our parental rights to our daughter. And I live through the tragedy every day with that. Felicia further says, the father is incoherent, recently sent to Wasco. My dad and stepmother don't want to give them back. They plan to adopt my children and leave the state. Oh, that's so terrible. Do you have an attorney, Felicia? It's very important you have a dependency attorney that can fight in your behalf. And Felicia says, I have a court-appointed attorney by Santa Barbara County. My attorney is based in Pasadena. She argues the appeal court that your court-appointed attorney will not fight for your case like you want them to do. They have a caseload of maybe 30 more clients and have time. They're a criminal lawyer. You need a dependency family juvenile lawyer. So, Felicia, you need to get a real attorney because your court appointed attorney will not fight for you on that.
Can I add something?
Yes, please do. And
I
please.
wanted to add, not to scare you, but that is 100% correct. My public defender did not fight for me. That's why I had to pay $7,500 for a real lawyer April this year. They won't stand up for you. They work with the judge, basically. And it's unfortunate, but yes, definitely I would suggest starting up a GoFundMe. That's what I did in my state. Praise God that my church people, my pastors, state representatives, everybody created a GoFundMe on my behalf to raise money for the funds to pay for my lawyer. Um,
Let me I'm bouncing behind the scenes, so I'm trying to get back here. We have someone that um, um, we have my rooms from other rooms. There's 7 rooms that are coming with messages, and it gets confusing when they come in. So they repeat themselves later on in the show there. So all the comments from you guys are now hidden away up above. So I need to go back to it. Felicia was the last one that had responded. And during the abuse, it was just great when they denied me discretion on the hearing, submitting it, the JV 180 and the 388 petition. A 388 petition is where they have a court hearing to reevaluate, and it has to be done in 30 days. It's filed there. Leica from South Africa says, sorry, but who is the CPS person in the chat now? Those are messages from rooms. There are 8 rooms totally, including this room. And these rooms have messages. There's my room, there's Mr. Davis's room, there's Mrs. G's room, and they all have different names. And what it is, they're found on Facebook. So when people search anything about CPS, they're drawn to those rooms. Those rooms will connect you. Like there's one room called the Law Offices of Vincent W. Davis Associates. There's the other room is Fight CPS with Bob Pace. That's me. And then there's another one called Fight CPS, Relatives Fight CPS. Then another one is the Juvenile Dependency. Then there's Mr. Davis's room, The Secret and How to Fight CPS. Then there is Fight CPS with, Fight CPS and Talk with Mrs. G. And this one here is Reality Series is CPS Horror Stories. Then YouTube has a room too called CPS Defense Strategy. So what you're seeing coming into my room is these 7 messages being repeated. They're loaded in the beginning, but apparently there's some glitch or something that they're loaded a second time, sometimes a third time, and sometimes right on top of my messages, and they're broken up, my messages. But the last person that did talk was, let me see here, was Leica from South Africa. And I have that on there. So that is really, really important there. So. Now, what about your regular part of your life? I mean, like your job, your well-being, your family members. How's that all affected? I mean, you must try to keep some type of a job to pay for everything, right?
Yes, I've worked ever since I was 18. Last year on my birthday, I broke my leg. So I broke my fibula in half and I broke my ankle bone completely off. So I had surgery and I was still made to go from LaSalle, where I'm at, all the way to Naperville, which is about an hour drive, and have visits with my daughter. Um, I would be pushing myself in my wheelchair in my cast. And
Mm.
I was not weight bearing for 3 months, and I still did that. I wasn't able to work up until now. I recently got a job back. Um, I work at a gas station. Um, not able to stand for prolonged periods of time because of the hardware that's in my ankle now. Um, and I've been going to school to further my education so I can get a better job, like a sit down job. But for right now, I just manage. I told my therapist, I'm not okay. I will never be okay until I have my kids. This is really depressing, stressful. I've lost weight. I gained weight. My appetite decreased. Like I said, I've been having so many problems with my body. I have IBS now, which I looked it up. That's one of the causes from stress. Heart problems, heart palpitations, um, anxiety. I have increased anxiety, depression. I don't tell them this though. I have to keep it bottled up because if I tell them this, they tried to use my past against me being a victim of human trafficking and domestic violence, and used my past because I didn't know not to talk to them. So when I talked to them, I spoke the truth about my mom being not a mom on drugs, and then my dad was an alcoholic. So my upbringing wasn't good. But when I had children, I strived to not have my children have the same life that I did. And I always did that. My children had not had the life that I had. Always being there for my kids, um, taking them places. I didn't go anywhere with my mom when we were young. Um,
Well, okay, let's go back before you're 17. Were you once in foster care yourself?
no, never.
Okay, so your mom was a good mother?
No,
Oh, she was very abusive.
not abusive, but she just was neglectful in like attention and going places, reading books, being a mom, being nurturing, all that stuff. So um, I had a choice of coming with her or staying with my grandma. My grandma was like my mom. So I was raised primarily with my grandma and my grandpa. They taught me how to farm. They taught me how to crochet. They taught me how to sew. Taught me how to do a lot of stuff. My mom wasn't. She didn't. I remember always having Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything at my grandparents' house, not my mom's house. My mom's house was always dirty, which is why I'm OCD now. My house is always clean because I grew up really poorly. Um, but when I expressed this to DCFS to show them, like, look, I'm the total opposite. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't have a criminal background. It was just unfortunate that I was introduced to human trafficking and domestic violence, but that wasn't my fault. They're trying to make it seem like, okay, well, um, they're trying to not say I was a victim and trying to say like I have no idea, but I didn't ask to be human trafficked. I didn't ask to be physically beat. I left that situation, which shows again my strength and my love and determination for my children, that I do not want them being in that type of environment.
How did you get approached, or how did all that trafficking start?
Um, so going back to when I was young, my mom gave me a choice to stay with my grandparents or come with her and travel. We're from Washington State. So I left with my mom because I was young and I was dumb and I thought it was fun. So I dropped out of school. My mom let me drop out of school in the beginning of 10th grade, travel with her. She would meet guys online. And when I was with her, they would do stuff to me. She didn't intervene. She didn't do anything. So I was basically by myself doing
Oh
everything
no, you
I
were
wanted
being
to do.
molested by these boyfriends of hers?
Right.
Oh boy,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
So
a
that's
terrible.
why that's why I don't have a relationship with my mom. And that's also why I strive to always not follow in my mother's footsteps. Like
Right, right.
and
So
prove to the
was
court.
she an did she work as an escort? Is that what she did?
No, I to be honest, I've never seen my mother work. I remember back years ago, she was a phone sex operator when I was younger, but that's the only job that I ever seen.
Okay.
I've never seen her work.
That's not modeling behavior what she was
No,
doing.
no,
And
which is
how did you learn the difference what was good behavior and what was bad behavior?
God, praise God that He instilled that
Oh,
in me since the beginning because I taught myself good and bad and right and wrong. That's why I've never had a criminal background. Um, I always presented myself professionally. I've maintained jobs. Um, had a great lifestyle. Like I said, I never turned to drugs or substance abuse, even after my kids were taken, which shows the level of strength and love and determination that I have for my kids. I don't want my kids to see that their mom's a drug addict. I don't want my kids to see that their mom's, you know, talking to all these other guys. I don't want my kids to ever see me how I seen my mom, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
I'm their role model. We're their role model. My kids will always view me as strong, resilient, hardworking, a fighter for them. That's what my daughter says. I said on our visits, I say, "What is mommy doing?" And she said, "I have it on video. Mommy's always fighting for me. Mommy loves me."
That's so good that you learn these skills on your own and that you know the difference in right or wrong. Because I know it was hard with your growing up, and then you have these guys that are taking advantage. Did you tell your mother that bothered you when these guys did that behavior?
Yes, and then when I would be with her, I would drink, and she would blame it on, okay, well, you drank, and I was 17.
But
What are
didn't
you
she
talking
know
about?
that, if you're under the age of 18, you're considered a minor? And if those gentlemen, are, I imagine, much older, that's called statutory rape.
She didn't intervene, which is why I ran away from her at 17. And then unfortunately, after I ran away from her, I met my son's dad. And I
Was your son's dad older?
I was 17, he was 58. Yes.
Oh, he was 58. Oh, boy.
So
He took
unfortunately,
advantage of you, didn't
yes,
he?
because I was by myself. I didn't have any family. I'm
You
from
didn't know
Washington,
what he was
D.C.
doing anyway. I mean,
No.
you brought up with a parent. That's a horrible story to hear. It really is.
And
Um,
DCFS is trying to use that against me. Like, okay, well, you know, your mom was a drug addict, and your dad was an alcoholic. You're a victim of human trafficking, domestic violence. But I've proven myself. Like, I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't have any mental things wrong with me except depression, which is normal when you take my kids. I don't understand how a normal parent wouldn't be depressed and fighting to wake up every day without their kids.
yeah, yeah. And didn't high school help you, like a counselor? Could you talk to a counselor in high school?
I dropped out. My mom let me drop out in the beginning of 10th grade.
Oh boy, see, all you people that are listening to this is that if you find yourself that your mom or dad are not helping you and you can't see other family members, go to a counselor in school. They will help you. They'll help you if you're being abused at home, because by law they're supposed to report, and they would have reported your mother there because what you did was really wrong. And then to be picked up by a guy 58 years old with a 17-year-old. I'm not against the age. I mean, if that person's 18, that's their business. But the maturity and what he does at 58 and what you do at 17 are totally different. You know, there are totally different lifestyles, different things. I have my own children, and I just cannot imagine being that's ridiculous, you know. And I'm so sorry that you're going through that. I really am. And so, um, Felicity says that what he went through with me and my mom, he's an alcoholic, but he has a job and a home by VA, and my wife and two adult children. Also, his mother's living in their home now, too. Um, I'm trying to play catch up with the people in the room here. We have about 4 minutes left. We have a new person here called DJ. And the guest today is very articulate and will spoken. I'm proud of you. DJ says they're proud of you. You're well articulated and you're holding your emotions well. Um, and that's from DJ. I don't know where you're from, DJ, but welcome. Then Felicie says, I haven't seen my baby since my son's birthday, September 15th, is what Felicie says. Felicie further says, I feel like I'm weathering away inside, which is ionic considering the agency managed to portray to the court that I failed to participate in a timely manner other than the discharge from the hospital. And then DJ says, I'm from Wisconsin. Welcome, DJ. I'm so glad that you're here. And then Felicie says, the truth is, I had contacted severe sepsis by default of the nursing staff. Oh boy, that sounds really bad. And DJ says, I lost my children 50 months ago. I'm so sorry, DJ. I'm so sorry. And Felicie says, that's cruel. Says, was hospitalized for a month after going back to my daughter. And then DJ says, I love to come on. Well, you can. If you want to get on the show, you can be my show producer. We'll gladly put you on. All you need to do is to be a guest on my show, and I put it on the screen, is send her to her email address. That's grace at vincentwdavis.com. Pick one of my 14 shows. I've been doing this now for over a year. There are over 700 shows. I'm twice a day, and I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night, Pacific Standard Time for an hour. So just pick a show, email Grace, and she'll give you the link on StreamYard to get in, just like where I have her current guest. And by the way, would you like a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Okay, all you'll need to do, and I'm going to put my phone number up right now. What you need to do is you need to text me to that number, 626-698-0990. Your full name, your email, and your phone number. And I will arrange it so you have 15-minute of consultation time on Zoom with Mr. Davis, one of the top attorneys in the country. And there you can ask some real important questions that are legally troubling you. So I want to help you, and that's the gift me to you, all right?
Thank you.
And so that way, we want to help you. And I'm on here twice a day, so I'm not going to disappear on you. So if you need more support or come on and talk more about your story, that would be great. Now, I need to catch up again. It's hard with these messages sometimes here. Let me see. Felicia says, I'm still the court and the agency still persists that have done little to nothing. That's terrible when they say that. Leica from South Africa says, may I please book for Friday? Well, you can book for Friday. Leica, all you need to do is arrange it with my producer and email her at grace@vincentwdavis.com. I'll put it on the screen again here in a second. Do you got my number there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me put up the email, the book it there, Leica. I'm trying to work it there for you. So, you can book it here. Let me read the rest of these comments. We're doing our time now. So let me wrap this up. Okay, you got the link, Leica. So come on, yeah. And Felicity says that my appeal attorney argued that the court abused the discretion when denied on eviction hearing upon submission of 388. Oh, that's terrible. Leica says yes. And the last comment is from DJ. I'm going to have to stop her comment. My children were taken away for mental health. My mother and ex false claims. I have exhausted $20,000 in attorney fees and now cannot afford to continue with her. And thank you all. I'm going to have to thank everybody. DJ, thank you for being on my show. Leica from South Africa, thank you. Cruel Felicity, thank you for being on my show. B Grass, thank you very, very much. DJ, I think I've thanked. Who else I have left here? We've had a lot of people today with my guest here, and it's been really great. Really, really, really great. Yeah, I think I covered everybody, and I want to thank you all. And Quill, thank you, and God bless you. Keep fighting for your kids. Do not give up. This is Bob Pace. Sign off. There'll be a brief message from Vincent Davis.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.